I've tried nearly every diet out there, and each has its pros and cons. And if you've ever felt confused by which diet to follow, whether it's keto, vegan, vegetarian, I'm going to show you a specific framework to follow to work out the best diet for you. And I'll share some personal stories about what actually happened when I tried these diets myself. So instead of asking yourself, should I be vegan? Should I follow the Mediterranean diet? It's better to step back and use this framework, especially if your goal is health and you're not following a diet for ethical or religious reasons. And we'll look at how this framework fits into some of the most popular diets that are out there today. And remember, what works for you may not work for everybody else. Also, context matters. If all your friends are vegetarian or vegan, it's going to be easier to follow a vegetarian diet. But if none of your friends are vegetarian, that could be a little bit trickier when you visit them. We'll also talk about how the keto diet just set my cholesterol levels sky high and I had to quit, and also the strangest diet that I've ever done. Here are the 5 criteria to work out which diet is the best for you. The first one is energy balance. Are you getting too much calories or not enough? The standard Western diet usually has too many calories, but restrictive diets or sometimes a vegetarian diet can lead to too few calories. Metabolic health. Does the diet improve your glucose balance, insulin sensitivity, cholesterol levels, blood pressure? Are you getting enough protein? Ideally, you want to be getting around 1.5 grams of protein per kilo of body weight, and sometimes even more if you're very active or as you get older and you're not absorbing protein as well. Number 3 is micronutrients. Does the diet provide enough vitamins and minerals? And if not, do you need to supplement? For example, B12 on a vegetarian diet or vitamin C on a carnivore diet. Both of these diets you may need to supplement. Number 4 is compliance. Can you stick to it? Is it socially restrictive? Is it realistic to go out to restaurants or friends' homes and have a wide variety of foods to eat, or do they have to make you special meals each time you go? And number 5 is the cost. Can you afford to do this long term? For example, quality meat on a carnivore diet can be expensive. A Mediterranean diet or a vegetarian diet might be easier cost-wise. So most people choose a diet to lose weight, improve their metabolic health, or they're trying to boost their exercise performance. And the truth is, what you eat has far more impact on weight than how much exercise you do. Exercise is still important, but what you eat is the most important. For a diet to work for weight loss, you need to focus on these 3 levers as well. Calorie restriction. This is often the hardest to do. Being on a low-calorie diet can be hard long-term. Dietary restriction, like low carb or low fat, this often leads to calorie restriction because you're limiting the amounts of types of foods you're eating. And time restriction. This is probably the easiest. And this is also called intermittent fasting. That's where you eat within this window of between midday and 6 p.m. or midday and 8 p.m. And it's often socially easier to do because you're skipping breakfast and then just having lunch and dinner. Or some people skip dinner and just have breakfast and lunch, which is probably the best for metabolism. So let's have a look at the different diets and how they fit into this criteria. Number 1 is the ketogenic diet. This is usually under 50 grams of carbs a day, but over time you may be able to tolerate more, especially if you've been doing keto for long periods or you're doing a lot of exercise. In the past, when I was doing keto for many months, I was able to eat around 100 to 150 grams of carbs a day and still stay in ketosis. There's also 2 versions of the ketogenic diet. There is the version that I like to follow, which is good quality protein, lots of fats from olive oil, coconut oil, MCT oil, and vegetables from above the ground, and still plenty of fiber. And you can still stay in ketosis eating these vegetables. There's also the deep fried chicken and bacon and brie cheese version of the diet. And while I like some of those foods, that can send people's cholesterol sky high. So both of these versions of the keto diet are ketogenic, but one is going to be better than the other for long-term health. And the strengths of the ketogenic diet is that you get good blood sugar control, often lose weight, you don't feel hungry. But you have to watch out that you don't get electrolyte deficiencies, especially magnesium, sodium, potassium. You also want to check your cholesterol levels before starting the diet and afterwards. And if you're one of these people where your ApoB in particular goes sky high, you may want to choose a different type of diet. Personally, I see the ketogenic diet maybe as a short-term intervention for people to balance blood sugar levels, maybe lose some weight, And this is something like that you might do for 3 to 6 months. The next diet is the carnivore diet. This is where you eat animal foods only. And this can mean nutrient-dense organ meats, fish, or you could still do a carnivore diet and eat highly processed meats, which is going to be a lot less healthy. This is a very satisfying diet. You feel full. I did this for 3 weeks, and to be honest, I couldn't wait to finish. I was missing vegetables, fruits, and some good quality carbs, but I did feel great doing it. The strength of the carnivore diet is it's like a strict elimination diet. It cuts out all the crap. And I've had clients resolve autoimmune conditions, leaky gut, skin issues, brain fog, and severe psoriasis from doing a carnivore diet. One of the weaknesses, though, is it can be low in vitamin C, magnesium, certain B vitamins. It can be socially isolating if you can only eat steak, for example. You've really got to watch the cholesterol levels and the ApoB levels on a carnivore diet because it tends to be high in saturated fats. So the carnivore diet is once again, it could be a great diet for people to do, but maybe a short-term, 1 to 2 months maximum as an elimination diet. The next popular diet out there, and these aren't in any particular order, is vegan or vegetarian diets. And I was vegetarian for many years. I've never been a strict vegan before. And I didn't find it too hard to follow. And these days, every restaurant will usually have a vegetarian or vegan option. And there's two versions to the vegetarian diet as well. You could be eating ultra-processed, vegan meats and bagels and bread and virtually not eat a vegetable at all, and you're still technically a vegan. Or you can eat lots of legumes, lentils, wide variety of plants, nuts, and seeds, and you're getting a very balanced vegetarian vegan diet. One of the weaknesses of a vegetarian diet is it's lacking vitamin B12. It can also be low in other nutrients like zinc, iron, calcium, omega-3 fatty acids. But you can supplement with these if you want to follow a vegetarian diet. If you want to just eat purely food, you could probably be 90% vegetarian vegan and eat some good quality animal protein, so you're getting the benefits of both a vegetarian diet with the balanced protein that you might need. The next diet, and this is probably one of the best research diets showing that it is good for your health, is the Mediterranean diet. This is similar to the vegetarian diet and it has lots of plants, legumes, whole grains, nuts, olive oil, but plus you can have some fish and unprocessed meats. It's the best research diet for cardiovascular and metabolic health, and it's the one that I try and follow these days. The trap with the Mediterranean diet is it's a little bit vague. It doesn't have these set rules like keto, vegetarian, vegan, carnivore. And you're unlikely to be getting any nutrient deficiencies on the Mediterranean diet because it covers everything. It's also probably the most socially acceptable diet because most places you can go out and get a diet that fits into that Mediterranean sort of environment. And there's other short-term diets out there like the fast mimicking diet, the low FODMAP diet, and the craziest diet that I've ever tried is the potato hack, where you're only eating potatoes for 5 days. Sounds strange, but it's actually one of the best diets for weight loss and also resetting if you're prone to just eating really highly processed foods. Eating potatoes is super boring and it's almost impossible to overeat when you're eating that type of diet. I heard a lot about it and I just wanted to try it. So how do you work out the best diet for you? The best option is not to pigeonhole yourself into one camp or identify as being keto or carnivore or vegan. It can make your social life miserable and it won't last. Start by asking, what's my main goal? Is it fat loss, muscle gain, preventing diabetes, or cognitive health? Then get a baseline blood test. Check your fasting insulin, glucose, A1C, your cholesterol markers, apolipoprotein B, and also a range of vitamins and minerals. And then start following the diet and recheck these levels and make sure they're still optimal after 3 to 4 months. If your diet doesn't have enough protein, maybe consider a DEXA scan and measure your fat loss with that, because you don't want to lose muscle when you're following a diet, especially if you're not getting enough calories. So always start by building a diet around protein first, aiming for that 1.5 grams per kilo of body weight up to 2 grams. And as we age, we need more protein to prevent muscle loss and frailty. Then top up your macronutrients with the amount of carbs and fats that you need, depending on what your goals are. Make sure your diet is practical and enjoyable as well. And you don't have to be perfect all of the time. If you're eating 21 main meals a week, focus on 19 being really good and don't worry about the other two. Otherwise, you'll beat yourself up if you're trying to be perfect all the time. So rather than looking at diets like a religion that you have to follow, focus on this framework. Focus on the energy balance, the protein, the micronutrients, and the long-term sustainability. Healthy eating is like a tool, it shouldn't be your identity. What diets have you tried? What works the best for you? And have you tried any strange diets that have been actually super successful or not? Leave a comment below, I'd be interested to hear.